Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
You are listening to the Brilliance Business Show. I am your host, Mark Stephen Pooler. Conversations with leading experts in business. And today I have the most incredible guest, Dr. John Demartini. John is a top human behavioural specialist, and our topic today is how our thoughts become things, which I'm really, really passionate about. John, welcome to the Brilliance Business Show.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. I was looking forward to it.
I'm looking forward to a conversation with you today. Before I get started, I just need to make a legal disclaimer that Dr. Demartini is not offering legal advice or legal assistance. So let's get started with the show. Dr. Demartini, can you share with our listeners a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Well, for 47 years, I've been involved in researching and educating on human behavior and maximizing awareness and potential and helping people in literally almost every area of their life maximize their performance to achieve what's really, really, really deeply meaningful to them. I've been traveling the world. I've been blessed to speak in 155 countries, and I love what I do. I started it when I was 18 years old. I'm now going on 66.
I absolutely love what you do, John. I've been a big fan of your work. I've seen you on The Secret movie. I recently watched the Opus movie as well. Can I ask you, because you help people with breakthroughs, and I'm very aware of the collapse method as well, can you share what led you to this kind of work? Did you have challenges and obstacles in your past that led you into helping others?
Yes, when I was born, my arm and leg was turned inward. So I guess I had an arm and leg deformity. And about a year and a half into my life, I had to start wearing braces until I was age 4 on arms and legs. Then I also had a speech impediment, and I couldn't use my mouth properly. And then by the time I had to go to speech pathology class and also put strings and buttons in my mouth, when I turned to elementary school, the teacher brought my parents to school and said, "I'm afraid your son's never going to be able to read, never going to be able to write, never going to communicate effectively. I don't think he's going to go very far in life or amount to much." So I started off a bit challenged, and I only made it through elementary school with the help of the smartest kids by asking them questions, and they helped me pass. But that worked until I was 12. And then when I moved from Houston, Texas to Richmond, Texas, I didn't have any smart kids in the class. It was a low socioeconomic area. And I ended up failing, and I dropped out of school. So I became a street kid from age 13 to 18. And I lived first in the beaches of Texas, and then I hitchhiked out to California, lived on the beaches of California, and then I eventually made it to Hawaii, and I picked up surfing as a sport. And I was doing that until I was almost 18, and I nearly died right before I turned 18 at 17. And in the recovery of that, I met this amazing teacher one night at a speech that I go to, and with one message, truly inspired me and made me believe that I could overcome my learning problems and do something more amazing with my life than what I was doing. And that was the trajectory change. And that was the night that I decided that I wanted to overcome my learning problems and learn how to read and someday become intelligent. And I wanted to do what this man did for me and try to do what I can to inspire as many people to believe in the possibilities and to go do extraordinary things. That led me to eventually going and reading my first book, trying to read my first book and not being able to, and then trying to go back to school, and I failed at first. But then with the help of my mom, we memorized 30 words a day. She made me spell them and use them with a meaningful sentence. And I gradually grew my vocabulary strong enough where I was able to pass school. And then I never stopped. I became an absolutely neurotic, voluminous reader. Now I've read over 30,300 and something books. And I realize that I can do what I set out to do. And I've tried to help other people take whatever challenges that they face and turn them into the greatest opportunities in their life. So now I've been blessed to accomplish what I set out to do. I wanted to empower every area of my life. I wanted to make original ideas that serve humanity. I wanted to create an international business. I wanted to create financial independence. I wanted to create a global family dynamic. I wanted to have social influence and meet movers and shakers. I wanted to have a vital body and do something extraordinary with my body. And I want to be inspired. And I'm absolutely certain that I've achieved that. And I'm absolutely certain that I can help other people achieve that now. And it's very inspiring to get to do what I do, because I was told I would never read, write, or communicate, never amount to thing, never go very far in life. And I gotten to do all of those things. So I love helping people do whatever they think they can't do and help them go do something amazing.
I absolutely loved hearing your story, John, because it really has helped me to see why you do what you do. And also what I love about that story is you didn't listen to those people telling you you couldn't do it, and you would have never have moved forwards. You have moved on, got through all of those challenges. Now you're helping so many other people to get their breakthroughs. And that's what I would like to touch on a little bit now. I won't ask you to go into details because I know it would take you quite a long time. But can you share more about your breakthrough and collapse? Because this is really, really mind-blowing stuff that has big results. I'd love to know what kind of people does it help, and just to share what it is.
Well, the Demartini Method, sometimes been formally called the collapse process, is a method that I've been developing since I was 18. I've been clinically using it for over 36 years, but I'd been developing it privately prior. And now it's being used. I've trained 6,000 facilitators around the world to utilize it. It's being used in almost every area of life, from business to governments to finance to health, you name it. And it's a series of very precise, concise questions that make you consciously aware of unconscious information in your perceptual awareness, and allows you to see the hidden order in what appears to be daily chaos, and allows you to take anything that you've been through and turn it into something you can be thankful for. So I've had people with every imaginable thing a people can face, from sexual issues to aggression to beatings to deaths in families to loss of money. Almost every stress or distress that a human being could face, we've been able to use the tool for it to help people see whatever they think is in the way to turn it on the way. And it's a very concise set of questions that, if we hold people accountable to answer them, it makes them aware and makes them grateful no matter what they've been through. And I know that sounds bold and maybe daring, but I've taken over 100,000 people through this process myself. And that's just in the Breakthrough Experience, which is a signature program I've done 1,091 times. And so it's so inspiring to watch people open their heart to the things that they have not been able to be thankful for. Because anything we can't say thank you for is baggage. Anything we can say thank you for is fuel. And so the method is designed to help people do that. But it has many applications. So if a person's in a brokerage business, for instance, and they're doing trading, forex trading or options trading or something, there's a tool within the method on how to take the emotions out and put the strategies in, and dissolve anything that's distracting you from following a clear strategy to maximize financial performance. In fitness, we have people that are athletes that sometimes when they're about to perform, they will compare themselves to people above them or below them in their social hierarchy in their sport, and we'll show them how to level the playing field so they're not putting people on pedestals or pitch, which distract them from being present and profound in their performance. We have people also with relationships that are going on the blink, wanting to throw in the towel. and we go through, and the method on conflict resolution within the method dissolves the conflict. We've used that in conflict resolution in Tehran. We've done that in places in Ireland and between the Northern and Southern Ireland conflicts. We've done it in many places in the world. We also have a grief process within it to dissolve grief. We did that in Ishimaki, Japan during the tsunami. We did it also in Christchurch during the earthquake, and also another time in Japan and in China. So it's just a multifaceted tool to help take whatever you've experienced that you think is distressful and turn it into something that you can be thankful for. And it's so rewarding to be able to use and watch people's lives change because of the application of it.
Yes, and what really stood out to me there is the variety of people that this method can help through challenging times. There's a lot to be said about gratitude, and I've been there when you are not thankful for things, and emotions do hold people back. I have been there myself. And like you said, it must be so rewarding, Dr. Demartini, when you take people through this method and they get great results at the end. That must make your work so worthwhile.
I'm blessed to have tears of gratitude. And anybody that knows what real grace is, it's a really inspiring state where you really watch lives change. I mean, I've seen people that have not talked to each other in 42 years. I had a gentleman in Sydney, Australia, that him and his father had a fist fight and a knockdown, drag out beating. And the father kicked him out of the house. His father was a heavy, aggressive drinker at the time. And they kicked him out of the house at 16. And he refused to see his father for 42 years. He was now 56 years old, or 58 years old, pardon me. And his father was 82, and he came to the breakthrough experience in Sydney and did not have anything nice to say about his father. He built up a story over the years of how terrible his father was. And in spite of that, he went on to become a very successful entrepreneur, primarily because of that independence that was born during that time he was kicked out. Well, he came to the breakthrough experience and did the method and stayed with it until completion, until he was brought to tears in the realization that his father did him a service, not a disservice, by doing what he did. He possibly would have been an alcoholic living at home, and he went on to do something extraordinary in his life. When he finished at about midnight on a Saturday night, he got on the phone and called his father. And his father had not heard from him for 42 years. He was 82, and when he received the message, it was a tear-jerking moment. And so his son went and visited him on Wednesday and put his arms around him and just absolutely appreciated and loved him for the contribution it made in his life, which resolved something that both had had for 42 years. I see this kind of thing every week. I've seen people that have not been able to get pregnant do the method on their mothers because they compared themselves to their mothers and said, I would never want to be like my disempowered mother who was aggressively treated by the father. And they were unconsciously saying, I don't want to really have children. And what's interesting is they do the method, and all of a sudden they're now able to get pregnant. They've been trying for 2 to 5 years with IVF and all kind of things to get pregnant. I've seen people in business, major businesses, major corporations, Fortune 100 companies, with major conflicts between divisions, do the method and dissolve conflicts and resolve it and make income. I had an application of it at one of the biggest companies in Japan, which increased the company $1.47 billion, according to the billionaire owner. So there's many applications of it in business, in personal life, in health. I have health professionals. There's been thousands of people sent to the breakthrough experience from health professionals to dissolve the stresses that are underlying some of their illnesses. So it has many applications. And as you said, it's extremely rewarding watching the people transform their lives and get on with their lives.
Some great examples there, Dr. Demartini, and it's really all what I talk about. I am big on your past doesn't define who you are, and no matter of your past or present circumstances, you can create any reality that you would like to create within reason. And what really stands out to me is I would say even people who may not feel like that they need help, or people wanting to get to that next level, this method would be amazing for, because it's getting rid of all those blocks. Am I right in saying that, John?
Yes, I had a gentleman also in Australia who was making about $40,000 a month. No matter what he did, he couldn't get past it. It had been 3.5 years of just plateauing at 40,000 a month in his business. And he ended up having, we worked through to try to figure out what was going on inside him unconsciously, to bring it consciously. We used the method on his father, and we found out that he respected his father because he was a highly, moral man, but he also was disrespecting his father because his father didn't believe that anybody that earned more than a certain amount of money was, legit. He always thought that they're crooks. And so he grew up with his father's idea that you're a crook if you make a certain amount. But at the same time, his father was very moral. And so he admired one and despised the other. And so he didn't want to displease his father. And no matter what he did, he wouldn't go past the number that his father said would be a crook. So we did the method on his father, cleared the illusion, took his father off the pedestal and out of the pit and put him in his heart, balanced the equation. And he went from 40,000 a month to 200,000 a month over the next 3 months, which is a 5-fold increase in his business once he took the ceiling off himself, because he had a psychological conflict inside himself. I want to have a big successful business, but I don't want to be doing something that would be bad to my father. And we took that conflict away, and he just took off. Now that gentleman, this time, it makes millions of dollars a year, and he's already in a multimillionaire position. He's used the method over and over by doing what I call owning a trait to the greats. I've had celebrities, I've had business leaders, I've had people in almost every walk of life, at almost every age, do what I call owning a trait to the greats by the application of the method. And they go in there and take the people that they admire the most, that are most powerful leaders, and they do the method on them and level the playing field and realize that there's nothing missing in them. And the moment they realize that, their new position and the level of the playing field just jumps up. I've seen that with golfers. I've seen it with surfers. I've seen it with sports people of all different types, with business people, celebrities, and singing and dancing and acting. I've watched amazing things happen where people go from small positions in their business to sometimes very powerful positions in very short periods of time. I've even seen a 6-year-old become a deputy mayor by the time she's 12. And another 6-year-old by the time 11 had 30 employees in her company. It's amazing to watch these things happen. And it's very inspiring to participate, to be able to create a methodology that has so many applications.
And what really stands out to me is one coming from the heart. I think there's a lot to be said about living and coming from the heart. And also, what really does stand out to me is some of these problems that you're solving. The client wouldn't really know on a certain level that they have that problem until they do that deep inner work, because it must be so deep in their unconscious mind. And to bring it up and to help solve those problems, living from the heart and getting the transformation is truly amazing. And also, a few years ago, John, I hope you don't mind me saying, some people might think, well, this is a bit woo-hoo. But more and more and more, the world is becoming more open. Everything to do with these kind of methods are starting to become scientifically proven. And don't you think we live in such a great present moment where science and spirituality are coming together more? Don't you think this is just a great time to be alive?
I'm very grateful to say yes. And I have spent 7+ years doing what I can to integrate those two, because I really believe that true scientific endeavor is basically not counterproductive to true, you might say, spiritual awareness. or inspired awareness, I prefer it. And some of the greatest minds that have ever lived have been very devoted individuals to a belief that, at least in a panpsychic belief, that the universe is somehow intelligent and underlying space, time, energy, and matter is a profound conscious experience that we have access to once we equilibrate our mind and get really present and certain. And I'm a firm believer of that. And I've studied the panpsychics. They go all the way from the pre-Socratic Greeks all the way to Freeman Dyson, who just passed away 3 days ago. He was a great one. Einstein, Schrodinger, Max Planck. I could go down the list. These individuals had a deep devotion to studying the hidden order in the apparent chaos of the universe, to solve the great mysteries that they penetrated by their pursuance of the mysteries and the order that's supposedly transcending the chaos that they perceive. And so I'm a firm believer that true spirituality and true science do not fight. The dogma of anthropomorphic religious ideals and the left and right wings of science fight. But those are just biases that we haven't taken the time to get past and probe deeper into the magnificent mysteries that are present.
Beautifully said, John. And I was a big fan of The Secret movie, firstly. So I would like to say a big congratulations, because that movie really did start a big shift for a lot of people. I recently watched the Opus movie, which I absolutely loved. Today, I would like to touch on the new movie. I was lucky to interview Douglas Vermeeren a couple of weeks ago, and his new movie, How Thoughts Become Things. I know you are going to chat a little bit about that for me today. In your words, John, how do thoughts become things?
Well, I'll do a practical, kind of empirical approach first, and then a little bit more abstract approach. Every individual, regardless of age, culture, or gender, lives moment by moment by a series of priorities or set of values, things that are most important to least important in their life. Whenever they are doing what is truly highest on their value, and they're living congruently with what they value most, what's most important, or what's highest in priority, their executive center comes online. They spontaneously want to act. They get lucid on a vision of what they want to do. They can strategically plan in their head with foresight. They have an urgency to want to act with inspiration towards it. They expand their space and time horizons, and they end up with a very clear, lucid capacity to filter out of reality anything that matches their innermost dominant thought. Our innermost dominant thought becomes our outermost tangible reality when we're really, truly congruent. And we see opportunities, we decide quickly, and we act on those opportunities. And we also are most magnetic, most authentic. And every human being yearns to be expressing their authentic self. And when we do that, we draw in people, places, things, ideas, and events that match that increase the probability of the achievement of the innermost dominant thought. We also most people have had experiences in their life where they think about somebody and maybe write their name down or just think about them. And then they call or they run into them or they see somebody that knows them and something happens. And it's too frequent to ignore, but not frequent enough to bet money on. It's in that gray area. But at the same time, we used to do a study back in 1980s when I was consulting for 1,000 health clinics in America. We went in there and we took, no matter how many staff members they had in the clinic, each one would be divvied out 20 patients that were inactive that had not been seen in 6 months or longer. And they would go through the files and read the files and visualize and think about the individual and focus on them. And then they would find out and then document when those people reappeared. And we found that the 20% of the people that were reviewed, even though they'd been inactive patients for 6 months or longer, reappeared within a week. 20%. And we did that in 1,000 clinics. And so this is somehow there's a subtle, we could almost say some form of a quantum entangled relationship between what our thoughts are and what the things that we want to create. and there's some sort of a connection between them. We have all kinds of theories about it. There's all kind of studies of the brain. We know there's all kind of localized effects, but I really believe that the quantum entangled construct of quantum physics has more application at a macro level than what first was thought. And I believe that we actually do create things with our thoughts. We know that any designer, architect who's creating a building or a bridge or a masterpiece, it starts in their mind. And even though from a practical perspective, we then put application of actions and other aspects of our life to get the result, our thoughts are the dominant thing that lead to that outcome.
I just love that expression as well, because if you have a good look around everywhere, everything was first created as a thought in the mind. And it can also go the other way. I'd like to add, if you're putting lots of bad thoughts into your minds, you're going to create bad realities. And I'm a big fan of quantum physics as well, John, and everything is connected. We are all connected. So I would like to ask you, Dr. Demartini, in your words, why should people come to a screening of How Thoughts Become Things? Why should people watch the film? And what will they get most from the film?
Well, I think I can't imagine somebody sitting through that film without being, one, inspired, two, concentrate and think about and focus on what they really want in life. It's going to make them concentrate on that. And if we don't fill our day with high priority actions that inspire us, our day fills up with low priority distractions that don't. Anything that's not negentropic, moving towards higher order with concentrated thought, undergoes entropy and breakdown. So by being at the film, you're going to be around inspiring people. You're going to be listening to inspiring people. You're going to be learning inspiring ideas. It's going to bring out of you inspiring goals and dreams and visions that you want to create. It's going to give you tools on how to create them. It's going to give you examples of how people have done that. And it's going to increase the probability of you giving yourself permission to have, be, and do what you really, really, really in your innermost dominant thought want. And I think that anybody at any age will benefit from just spending the time honoring themselves and honoring their full capacities of expression.
I agree totally. And I would like to add to that as well, John. It's got leaders from all around the world, top industry leaders that know their stuff. I'm really excited about this movie. I can't wait to see How Thoughts Become Things. John, I really enjoyed having a conversation with you today. I could listen to you all day. My last question I would like to ask is, what is new for John? What are you working on right now?
Well, I have many things I've been blessed to work on. There's 3 movies in the making. There's a new movie on my work in the breakthrough experience. I call the breakthrough movie that's coming. It's being filmed. Got another movie coming up that's inspiring, that has Stephen Hawking in it and Michael Douglas and Robin Williams.
Incredible.
And that I'm involved in. There was 12 individuals that made a difference in this century that I got to be part of and in the movie, and it's turning into a book. I've also got just recently acknowledged by the International Association of Top Professionals as a leading human behavioral specialist in the world. That's inspiring, and that's a big gala event that I get to go to. I'm also going to be working in new countries in China and New Sri Lanka. My goal was to go to every country around the world, and I'm at 155 now, and looks like we got 2 more in the making. I still got some more countries to go. I had a dream to do that since I was 17, and I'm still working on it. So I'm also got a new book out that's coming out on my methodologies on grief. And there's just so many things that are going on I'm very blessed by. But the most important thing that I watch is every weekend when I do the Breakthrough Experience, which is my signature program, watching lives open up their hearts and get inspired and get into action. My gratitude journal, which is the largest gratitude journal of anyone I've ever met in the world, which is 25 volumes long now. These are 1,000-page volumes. are filled with my students' achievements today, as much as my own. It's the students' achievements that inspire me today. I had a 26-year-old man that ended up doing amazing accomplishments. I just got, yesterday, a gentleman came up to me and he created a company which is $1 billion company. And it's because he came to a little evening talk we did and got an idea. And I mean, there's just so many things that are going on that just, I get tearjerk. Another gentleman that's just produced a major movie with action heroes. And just a few years ago, he had a dream to make movies, and he's got a major one coming. So there's so many things. Another one that created a movie called Dropa that came out that started in my office, and that's finally coming to fruition and going into this movie theaters. I've watched amazing things happen. I'm getting to work with the Prince tomorrow night, working on a big political maneuver. I could go on and on and on with the things that I've been blessed by and the people I get to meet and the things I get to watch. So there's so much going on that I could spend probably hours and hours and hours on the blessings in my life right now.
It's truly inspiring to hear all of your achievements, but what is most inspiring is the lives that you're changing. Lastly, John, can you share with our listeners, if people are interested to connect with you or interested to learn more about you, what would the best way for them to go about that?
Well, the simplest way to find me is just to simply go online to drdemartini.com. That's DRDEMARTINI.com. And on there is my website is as much educational as anything. There's hundreds and hundreds of interviews, there's YouTube videos, there's products, there's online programs, there's all kind of things. Plus where I am in the world events-wise, because I full-time travel, as you know. I live on a ship called the World that travels around the world. And then when I'm not on my ship, I'm traveling and living in hotels. I do this full time, literally 365 days a year, because I can't think of anything else I'd rather be doing than what I love doing.
John, I have really enjoyed learning about your story, and I really admire your work. I really would like to follow in your footsteps of world travel and doing all these things. And I know I will make it possible because thoughts become things. John, thank you for being my guest today.
Thank you. That's a lovely interview, and thank you for helping me help other people.
Thank you so much. You have been listening to the Brilliance Business Show. I am your host, Mark Stephen Pooler. Conversations with leading experts in business.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.